So I have a thought today, and still trying to piece this together. So forgive me if it doesn't come out 100% right. Excuse me, but it's more of a thought, more of a question. And what it is right now there's a lot of critical study of the scriptures. And so within critical study of the scriptures, we tend to take what the verse means and understand that verses like, let's take Jeremiah 29:11, are meant for Israel, if you look at the context of the scripture. And that's correct. But does that mean that God doesn't have plans for us? Proverbs and Psalms tell us that man makes his plans, but God guides his footsteps. So, it just kind of makes me wonder if at times we're a little too hypercritical about what the scriptures are saying. And I'm definitely an expositionist when it comes to scripture. But it's just something that I've really been thinking about, because talking with a friend this morning, they were asking me questions themselves about, how certain verses mean, really we try to say, well, this is what it means. Take, I'm going to butcher the address for this one, Philippians 4, is it 13 or 6 or 23? I can't remember. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And we know that is Paul talking about his own suffering, that he's going through suffering, that he can do stuff with Christ's strength. But people kind of get uber critical because they see that a lot on sports stars. And then somebody buys the shirt and they kind of get uber critical about that person wearing that shirt, because in their eyes they're taking it out of context. But what if that person is going through their own struggle? I look at my wife, who suffers from fibromyalgia and interstitial cystitis, which is also known as painful bladder syndrome. She's had a history of battling bipolar disorder in her life. And she is probably a great bastion of faith to see how she has relied on Christ and she has received her strength through Christ. So if she wanted a shirt like that, I'd have no problem with it for her to wear. And anyway, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that, there are verses that I think people use correctly, but there are verses that, like as he was saying, Revelation 3, oh gosh, I'm bad with verses today, but the one where Jesus says, behold, I'm at the door and knock. If anyone answers, I will come in to them. Is that, when people use that as a salvation verse, is that correct? Or, when you think about what that verse really means, where it is in context, do we take that verse out of context? But yet there are people that are deeply moved. You hear stories of people in prison, or in women's shelters, or homeless shelters, or just different places, and they read that verse and they weep because they realize that God is real, that Jesus wants to be in their lives. So anyway, just food for thought. Let me know. Like this video, subscribe, or comment on my Facebook page if you're watching this on Facebook, and let me know what you think. All right? God bless. Bye-bye.